everyone. Welcome back to my show. I know it's been such a long time, and here we are yet again. I've gone on quite the journey of really figuring out like what I want to do and how I want to approach this quote unquote business thing. And I really live my life with the belief that if something is meant to be, it will always come back up. If you love something, let it go, right? That whole thing, like that's like one of my core beliefs about things. So I'm never really afraid to put something down. In fact, I feel like I have to do that because that's how I know that something really is for me. And um, I'm sure there's lots of different reasons as to why that's something that works for me, but maybe you too. So, where we are now is that I work full time at an amazing library that I love. Maybe you didn't know this about me and my lore, but I got my master's degree in library when I was pregnant with Adele. And then, upon having the two kids back in 2014, 2015, I was like, there is no way in hell that I'm going to get a job and leave my kids with somebody else. That made absolutely no sense to me. And I started to go down the rabbit hole of online business. And the very first iteration of that was self care. It was about self care for entrepreneurs, and that evolved into like the much more business coaching that I got into over time. And then the astrology training, and there were so many really cool things that came about, but all of it really was born out of my desire to be home with my children and to not have to go and work for somebody else. I also happen to have Uranus in my sixth house, and I know for a fact that if I do have a job, it has to be very flexible. There has to be freedom. There has to be like not a lot of rules. And I'm really blessed to have found that here at this job. And I'm so grateful because after working online for so long and all the Zoom and all, going through the whole quarantine and that whole crazy thing, and then moving to a new place and going through divorce, all of this, right? I really felt like I needed to shift some things, and I wanted to be in a more like in person public place. And also, I wanted to put down the business because I had so many different like types of experiences and things, and it was starting to get like really hard for me to remember like what it was really all about for myself. Plus, I was evolving. So I decided to apply for this job at the library, and there was a lot of like divine timing to it. And my director that hired me is also an INFP, and she's amazing, and she's such a visionary and change maker. And so I'm really grateful because I'm getting these other needs that I have met, which is like the need to be around people and the need to have like a little bit more simplicity and consistency, which I think is more of a sort of like current need just in the situation that I'm in as a single mom. It was a lot for me also to handle the huge responsibility and all of the tasks and things that come along with like being my own business owner. So it was really like a wonderful option for me as I was going through a lot of change. And it still continues to be because it's really flexible. And again, I have that freedom working with somebody who is super cool. And I'm learning so much too. And I just love libraries. So, like, it's amazing. And now I'm like, okay, I want to do that and also do my astrology stuff and exploring like this whole concept of like energy management, which is to me much more exciting than like the self-care piece. I'm not really like, I love self-care, but I don't think that that's what I want to teach and talk about so much. I think that's like a part of it. But energy management is like, wow, that's really speaks to me. And that's what the INFP part comes in for me because I really am finding so much good stuff and really diving deeper into the INFP. So that's the Myers-Briggs piece. If you're an INFP or an INFJ or even if you're not, like, I don't, it's not so much about these labels necessarily as much as like what they're about. But I'm guessing that you probably are one if you're here and have stuck around, like, or have found me recently because I've been really emphasizing that. And I I've known that I'm an INFP for a really, really long time, but it's just come back up into my field like more again, like in the past year or so. I've been like really, really, really curious about it and wanting to understand how it can help me manage my energy, because I was just noticing and realizing that even with all of the quote unquote like work that I've done on myself, and like business is such a tool for self development and forced in a certain way. Forced maybe isn't the right word, but like helped me um, really have to learn how to manage my energy so well. There were still certain things that just weren't going away, and there were still certain patterns and things that I was attracting that I needed to figure out, because even within my business, they were coming up, like attracting like nightmare clients towards the end of my business, which, because like I do kind of think of that business as like no longer in existence, and I think it had to happen. And I had so many amazing clients, but I was still like experiencing certain things in my personal life and in my business that I was like, what the heck is going on? That just looked like really kind of like toxic, like interactions and stuff that I just don't want anymore. And so, of course, I still had like things to look at and things to explore. And so the INFP framework really provided me a lot of the missing pieces that like I wasn't really even getting from the astrology, but together they make like a lot of sense. So I'm excited about that. So I'm not an expert by any means whatsoever in INFP or any of the MBTI stuff. Like, I don't even fully understand how it all works. So I'm not teaching that. It's just more so that I'm embracing it and I want to share it, because I think that other INFPs, we really need each other, and it's working for me. So I'm excited to share these things and to kind of synthesize the astrology with it. So I don't even know like how I got into this conversation right here, but I just decided that that it's important for me to share these things because I want to talk a little bit about why the astrology and the MBTI, all these tools that we have, why they work, and how we can really work with them to manage our energy. And I created this guide that I would love for you to get. Maybe you already got it. And I wanted to just kind of talk about how these things can really help you, especially since the sun is going to be entering into Aquarius. And then, of course, we have this major Pluto in Aquarius coming up. And that's going to be a really, really big thing. And I'm going to be moving away from talking a lot about like the transits, because I'm not like such a time oriented person, I realize, and I'm embracing that. And that's part of an INFP thing. I actually just learned last night that there is a whole concept called time blindness. And I think I'm time blind. Like, and I always kind of like was a little ashamed of that. Like being an astrologer, there's, I guess I took upon myself that I had to be like that type of astrologer that was like so on top of the transits and like all the dates and all the exact things, and that's just not how I am. So I'm fully letting that go. I will of course touch on certain things, but I don't think that that's my purpose and my forte. So it's just a waste of my energy and just actually creates more exhaustion for me to even to try to like present that kind of stuff. There's so many other amazing people out there who it probably comes much more naturally for them. And of course, I'm like a big believer in being aware of the transit stuff. I'm just not the one to do it. So I thought it might be cool to kind of just walk you through this free guide that I'm giving away and explain just again how powerful these things have been, and just to encourage you to really go with it. And I know that we live in a world where there's so much information, and a lot of it is great information, some of it is fine, some of it is horrible, right? Like there's just so much, and it's, as an INFP, one of our biggest struggles is overwhelm. So my goal is never to give you more information and things that like will just become more for you to have to figure out and deal with and all of that. That's actually the complete opposite. It's all about just simplifying. And so I really, if it does resonate, like give yourself the permission, I guess, to go with it and really explore it and take it in, even if it seems basic. In fact, the basics are so key, and I think that we have to allow ourselves to go back to the basics. In fact, to me, that's what Saturn is all about, like the foundations, the basics, like mastering the basics. It reminds me of the Kevin Trudeau CD series that I used to listen to called Your Wish is Your Command, and like one of the core teachings that he taught, which was like the keys to like manifesting and all of that, was like how important the basics are. And like these things that, like, sometimes I think that there's a desired tendency to want to like find the next thing, right? But like if we really really understood like what it means for us to have, let's say, water as our dominant element, which we go through in the guide, or to have a certain modality as your dominant modality, or to understand like what your sun sign like really is about and your moon sign. Again, you may have read certain things and you may know that and think, oh, that's so elementary, and like you want to go into like the much more complex stuff. But like, have you really like sat with and really integrated and really embodied the sun energy and what it means to you, and expressing it in your life? Like, it is so deep, and honestly we could spend our whole lifetime just getting to know that one aspect of ourselves. And it's kind of like in herbalism, the simplers method, where there's this method of learning and practicing herbalism where an herbalist or a person would spend a whole year, if not more, with one single plant and not combine it with anything else, no formulas, just be with that one plant for a really long time, which allows for the depth that I think as INFPs we really seek. But sometimes living in this world, I think we are distracted and kind of conditioned to always want more, or like the next thing, or the more complex thing. And that's where I think we lose ourselves and we lose the opportunity to like really have this intimacy with ourselves through astrology. So I want to encourage you, as the sun moves into Aquarius this week, to give yourself the permission to simplify your astrology practice. Take this guide and maybe just focus on one part of it, and journal, meditate, whatever you like to do. Talk about it, explore it, read about it, research it, really go deep and find the deeper meaning for yourself, because that's what it's really about. And with that, you're going to be filling your cup, you're filling your need for depth. As an INFP, you're filling your need for simplicity too. I think as an INFP, I'm really embracing the fact that like I don't really like so many different things all the time. Like, I am a Gemini sun, so I like novelty, but I also really value like the depth, right? And really exploring something much beyond and past the surface level of it. And so I think that that is a gift that we can give to ourselves. And so we're kind of like, finding ways to feel good and feel fulfilled and have our needs met from all different angles by doing one thing. So that's what I really wanted to share with you today, just about how astrology can be such an amazing tool of your empowerment as an INFP, a tool for meeting your needs, and of course of understanding and self acceptance, which is the most important thing, right? Because you start to let go of like all of these rules, and we're not meant to follow the rules at the end of the day. As INFPs, we're really not supposed to play by the rules per se. We're supposed to be able to see the things that other people may not be able to see. And so that's something that we can focus on, right? That's something that we can do, but we have to create the environment for us to be able to do that. And astrology to me is one of the most amazing tools for that. So embrace your originality, embrace your uniqueness. That's what Aquarius season is all about. And I hope that this guide awakens the part of you that is your soul and that really does love and honor and value authenticity and originality and truth, and giving yourself that permission to just be who you are. So, thank you so much for listening and for being part of my world, right? And I'm so excited to connect with you. If you download the guide, please share with me your sun moon truth, and you can tag me on Instagram to be able to do that, because it's really powerful when we start sharing, because then we can support each other and you can put out into the world, right, through your intention and awareness, who you really are. And every day you can take actions to align with your truth. See you soon.